Buccaneers in all phases of the game, and we look at James Palmer here now, coming to us live from Tampa outside of Raymond James Stadium. James, what were the Bucs saying after the game was the key to shutting down Mahomes like they did last night, like we've never really seen before?
Okay, it was really similar to what they were saying before the game. They knew if they could get pressure with just 4 players up front and not blitzing after Patrick Mahomes, they'd be able to drop and do some things in the secondary, be more creative, be able to double Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce at times if they could get that pressure with the defensive line. And Vita Vea, before the game, I was told by multiple people on both sides that he could be a big X factor. Didn't play in the game in Week 12. They knew the way he ate up that middle of that offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs, that they would have the ability just to rush 4, and Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett would have one-on-ones on the outside against those backup tackles. And when I talked to Levante David this week, leading into the game, I said, what is it like playing the linebacker spot with Vita Vea in front of you? And he said, I can see everything that goes on that offensive side of the ball. And then after the game, here's what Levante David had to say about Vea and that defensive line.
How much did Todd Bowles just kind of let you guys go out there and play after, he implemented this game plan?
That's exactly what it was, man. He just go out there and let us just play our game. We had a great game plan. We only called a couple of calls. We didn't even blitz a lot. We just, just let our D-line eat. And guys underneath took care of the coverage, everything. And then guys took care of the deep balls, and we took care of everything underneath, me and Devin. And we was able to, eliminate what they wanted to do. And we was able to, just fly around and make plays. Coach Bowles, the guys that he got. And we was able to, step up to the challenge.
And that deep ball that he talked about, Kay, was a big aspect of this. They were able to do some different things in the secondary, and the guys that I talked to in that group really felt like maybe not in awe of the Cheetah's speed, but they knew the second time around it was going to be 100% different because they knew what was to come with that speed and the way they were going to play. Jamel Dean, another guy that didn't play in that Week 12 matchup, is their fastest corner in the secondary. So they were built a little bit differently, but also that group, we know there were questions, guys, coming into the season about that secondary. There were never any questions about their swagger and their confidence, and they went into the Super Bowl with that, and they went out and showed it.
Worst game statistically Patrick Mahomes has ever played in his entire career. We cannot just blame the offensive line. A masterful, brilliant performance, especially playing aggressively underneath to limit what Patrick Mahomes can do. Todd Bowles, what a game. Thank you so much to James Palmer. Kyle, I look at you rocking that beautiful creamsicle that you picked up last year when you and I were in Tampa together. Right. What made the Buccaneers so dominant defensively in this one?
Patrick Mahomes spending the entire game running around like a rodeo clown. That was so strange. I mean, probably 50 times. I don't even look at it as Mahomes scrambling. He was fleeing. This was the image of this game for me. And of course, it's Bowles and it's the Bucs defense. But, you talk for 2 weeks, the storyline headed into the game, oh, the Chiefs offensive line. Sometimes you do that for 2 weeks and totally whiff, and it's completely irrelevant. I thought this was hugely relevant. I guess injured left tackle Eric Fisher is Anthony Munoz and Walter Jones combined. I guess he's the best player in the world.
Mitchell Schwartz.
Those guys are the best. Those guys' agents had a great night because Mahomes is doing this thing where he runs backwards interminably.
This isn't one play on every play. This is different plays that he did.
It's the same play over and over. And so Mahomes, that is the postcard of this game. Mahomes running backwards. And again, not doing the cool scramble where he figures it out and hits Kelce. I don't look at his scrambling. I think he was fleeing. I mean, he looked like Scooby and Shaggy running from the ghost back and forth in the hallway for 4 quarters. That's for me. They couldn't protect him. He couldn't survive.
A lot of times I'll defer to Mike Robb, or we'll have Nate on, or we'll have Brian Baldinger break it down with the All-22, or Willie McGinnis when you talk defensive game plans and what they did. All week, we knew about this offensive line being injured and that might play a role. We also thought that Todd Bowles was going to do what Todd Bowles has been known to do. Send everyone. Send the blitz. Bring the heat. Todd Bowles didn't do that. Only 11% of their snaps did they send pressure from. They only blitzed 11% of the time. So what they did instead was they dropped back and they said, let's avoid the deep pass. James Palmer just hit it right there. Tyreek Hill is a menace. So is Hardman. So is Pringle. And what they did was they did 2 safety high. They said, you're not beating us deep, and we will let Levante David and Devin White worry about Travis Kelce and make Mahomes beat us some other way. The game plan was bold. It was out of character for Todd Bowles, and oh, was it creative. And in the end, the Kansas City Chiefs scored single-digit points. They scored 9 points. This might be the greatest offense this league has ever seen.
No touchdowns.
They scored 9 points with no touchdowns. and it was a blowout. Todd Bowles, you get all the credit this morning from me. Unbelievable game plan, and those players executed it perfectly.
And I totally agree with you. And Todd Bowles is still an assistant coach. Oh, my goodness, he should be a head coach somewhere. I mean, that defensive game plan was magnificent. I tweeted about it yesterday during the game. The safeties, Whitehead,
Winfield,
and Winfield, I mean, stand back, not giving up the explosive play. And then when Tyreek Hill or one of these explosive players did catch the football, they were sure tacklers. That was huge. I mean, you think about Patrick Mahomes. He got pressured 17 times. 16 of those pressures was with 4 or fewer rushers. So you had the maximum amount of defenders in coverage. That makes it tremendously hard. I don't care what quarterback we're talking about, but obviously the best quarterback in the National Football League and Patrick Mahomes. They made it very difficult on him. I tell people all the time, it's tough to stop great players. It's very tough to stop great players, but you just want to make it very difficult on them. And I felt like Todd Bowles and this Tampa Bay Bucs defense, they made every single play very difficult on Patrick Mahomes. And I tell you, they totally eliminated this offense.
Yeah, I mean, and when you have JPP and Shaq Barrett, who you and I talked about at length yesterday, when you have them and you know that they can win up against that offensive line, you don't have to blitz.
No, you really don't have to. And then you talk about Travis Kelce. The nature of the tight end position, he had to help.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't get out so much. He had to help protecting Patrick Mahomes. Great defensive game plan. We just can't overstate it.
And we can't overstate that it wasn't just this game like, wow, Todd Bowles, look at this crazy, great Super Bowl. I mean, this playoff run, that's what we need to be talking about here. Taking care of business against Breeze, Rodgers, and Mahomes, who together, very easy math that I can do myself, 4 touchdowns together and 6 interceptions with this Todd Bowles-led defense in those 3 games, averaging less than 19 points a game. So incredible performance by him and executed beautifully by his players. Let's bring in Mike Garafolo now. He's our insider of the day. Yes, Jeezy, thanks for joining us here on a Monday. Mike, welcome to our party. These Bucs are Super Bowl champions. It feels good to say. How much of that roster could we see back, though, on the field? Because we're already talking about running it back next year.
Yes, and Tom Brady now has 7 Super Bowl rings. Do you know which one is his favorite? Because he's been asked about it before. The next one. Tom Brady's already made it clear that he is coming back for the 2021 season. He was handed the trophy last night, and he told Jim Nantz, we're coming back. You already know that. It's not about riding off into the sunset or anything for Brady. It is about how well he thinks he can still play, and he can still play well. So he will be back next year. Bruce Arians said that if he won this game, he would come back to defend that title, and despite that, there was some speculation anyway. Arians made it clear after the game last night he will be back as well to try to defend that. He said, after that, we'll see. But they're back from a coaching standpoint, the Bucs are as well. Gronk has said that he wants to come back as well. You saw Antonio Brown. He'd like to be back. We'll see what kind of contract situation works out there. And then you've got Leonard Fournette as well, who may have had a mini case for MVP last night. I reported yesterday the Bucs would like to have Fournette back. Now, we're going to see what the market is like for him. They also have Ronald Jones. At some point, they have to think about a potential contract extension for him as he's going into the last year of his deal. But I give Bruce Arians a lot of credit for keeping Leonard Fournette's head right, because midway through the season, there was a 4-game stretch where he had only 19 carries. He was grumbling privately. Arians told him, your time will come. There are a lot of folks around here that are going to get the football. That could have gone the other way, and it may have gone the other way back when Fournette was in Jacksonville. Arians kept Fournette's mind right, and for that reason, I know Fournette has enjoyed his time in Tampa because they certainly did lean on him in the postseason. We'll see if he's back, but as far as the cast of characters, looking like most, if not all, going to be back for Tampa.
And Fournette, of course, spoke post-game about the leadership of Tom Brady, not just Arians, the night before the game, texting and telling Leonard Fournette, listen, you can exploit this defense. Put your shoulder down and let's go and get this championship. So